This is Lord President Rassilon. Due to the interference of that idiot renegade, the Doctor, the universe is collapsing. Unfortunately, the Time Lords have no answer for this, and I am forced to call upon the services of Type 40 Podcast.
Hey, time for Type 40, your live stream Doctor Who show, the live stream Doctor Who magazine show materializing here on YouTube, Rumble, and on Facebook, whichever platform, time stream, or time zone you're joining us from. Welcome, as always. Type 40 Live is where we talk about the world's longest running, best loved sci-fi and fantasy TV series and the whole Whoniverse around it, both on and off screen. And in the 60th anniversary year of the series itself right now, as we close in on that all-important, all-new era, it's all happening over the next few weeks. So it's just 7 weeks to go until the 60th anniversary date itself. Could be a little bit earlier, I think, for the first of those specials, given the detective work that we went through last week. So we could, who knows, get to see it all that little bit earlier. David Tennant, Catherine Tate, Neil Patrick Harris, and everybody else. Still, nothing's confirmed yet, so it has to be business as usual here as we take another spin out into the Whoniverse on this edition of the show. Not alone either, as always, we're in front of a live chat full of friends, fans, and companions just like you. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for watching, and thanks for listening. I'm Dan Hadley, Birmingham's king of the geeks. Another week roaming around the Doctor Who universe, seeing what we can find out, having conversations, exchanging ideas and experiences with you guys out there on Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. If you're watching us in the Type 40 Facebook group, please hit that little blue link. Facebook can tell StreamYard who you are. StreamYard can tell us, and we can all get cozy on the first name terms, can't we? As we huddle round the TARDIS console here. It's all looking a bit 1985 there, I think, in the Peter Davison stroke Colin Baker stroke Sylvester McCoy TARDIS, which I think I feel most at home in this. Even though there are no soft furnishings, I like it when the lights of those roundels are just a little golden. Hazy views of my childhood there. Yes, so please like the video now, subscribe to the channel, and hit the cloister bell to get all the notifications about what we're doing next and when we're doing it. Yeah, this time, what are we talking about this time? Well, we're going into notes, into beats, and probably Goosebumps too. We're going to get musical. Of course, we are. Reach for the high notes. We're going to get musical with an exclusive special report from a long-time Doctor Who fan calling in from across the vortex. So stay tuned. I know. Stay tuned for all of that. I've got a panel to bring on, a lean panel this time of some of my friends. First of all, dressed to match the splat, and a walking or sitting pun. I'm happy to say that Sarah Graham's here. Now, that is very strange, Sarah, because we can't hear you. Give her a moment, everybody.
Is that better?
That's better. I said get in tune, and we were all out of tune. Go on. Oh, you've gone again. You've gone again. You've gone again, love.
That better?
That's far better. We can hear you now.
Right, I'm putting that away. So I keep muting myself.
Take two.
It's not live or anything, is it? Yes.
Yeah, it's Sarah Graham, everybody. Who'd have thought it?
Hello. Yes, I wonder what we could be talking about today. So yes, I'm wearing gold. So I know I've painted a target on my back. And I've already counted 2 puns that you've used already. So well done. We haven't even finished the intros yet.
Hopefully, I'll get into double figures by the time we hit the half. That's my.
Was it? God.
That's the target. That's the target. Anyway, fortunately for Sarah, she's not going to endure this alone. And we've got Jack from the Nerd Den here as well joining us. Hiya, Jack.
Hello, everyone. Lovely to be back.
Hello.
Great to have you back, mate. Yes, it feels like you're part of the fiction fittings here now.
Yeah, I know. I think it's a 5 streak now. I think I'm in.
A five streak. You don't say the word streak around here.
No, yeah. That's not
No, you
All
don't.
the mucky pops in the live chat. It's nothing to do with me, mate. Nothing to do with me. So at the start of another week now, things have gone a little quiet in Doctor Who, though, haven't they? Quiet by recent standards.
Yeah, that's a bit too quiet. It gets me thinking there might be something going on, maybe. Or am I thinking too deep into that?
Something bubbling up. Well, they've got to be working on something, surely, haven't they, Sarah? I mean, everything is close at hand. 7 weeks now.
Yeah, we've got, we've just had the excitement of the trailer and building that momentum. You can't lose it now. So yeah, I'm expecting more announcements soon. I hope, anyway.
We hope so. We hope so. And yes, there's been one special occasion for the anniversary that has definitely happened. So we know that it's underway. We know that the wheels are turning, don't we? That happened just a few nights ago. And we do have somebody joining us in a little while to give us their take. They were there, and they're going to tell us everything in a special report from the Doctor Who 60th anniversary concert that happened in Cardiff on Thursday night. So stay tuned for all of that. People are listening. People are watching. And they're lining up in the live chat on YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook. I think it's time we went and said a few hellos, slapped a few backs, and see what's cooking with them. What do you think?
Yeah,
let's do it.
Yeah, let's do this.
Type 40. Was that good enough? I hope so. Or exterminate.
Goes on a bit, doesn't he? He definitely goes on a bit, that one. I like the guy in the Next Generation outfit behind him as well, who looks as if to say, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on, live chat? Hello, everybody. What's going on? Lord Thoth. Hi, everyone, says Lord Thoth. Got greetings from San Francisco, courtesy of the Timescales.
Good morning.
I think I'm getting obsessed with 1980s soap operas because I keep reading this as Dallas, but it's actually Dallas.
Well, I do as well. Hello, love.
Hi, everyone. There's one from you, Sarah. Oh, and in right on the clock, we've got Psychics Beats as well. Good to see you there. And so is Oti with a hello all and a little blue dude in the corner. Can you make it? What on earth is that, Jack? Is that somebody from Fallout?
I mean, it looks like it,
Or Fortnite? Yeah, something beginning with an F.
Yeah, something.
Happy Monday, everyone, says Gary. The retro doc. Wait, when are you coming back on next, Gary? Oh, probably because I haven't asked him. I keep thinking I've got to ask Gary to come back on. Come back on, Gary. Yes. Here we go, says the Timescales. Hello all, says the classic 80s fanboy. And we've got to punch it there from Lord Thoth too. What's this? Aidan McGear. Hello, Aidan. And he says, Type 40 reigns supreme. All hail Type 40. And that looks like the guy out of It, the horror movie there in the corner. The clown. What's the Pennywise? That's it, isn't it? Could be him.
I don't know. I think Aidan's been taken over by a Dalek. That sounded very Dalek-y.
Sinister, wasn't it, Aidan? Sinister, very sinister. Hello, says Dalius. Hi, Starry, says Garbage.
Hi, Garbage.
Hey, everyone, says Wendology. Hi, Wendy.
Yeah. Hi, Wen.
Garbage says, I hope the specials are over 3 weeks and not 3 days. So we looked at this a little the other day, didn't we, Jack? Have you given that any thought since we last spoke?
Yeah, and I'm still leaning on that. I hope it's 3 weeks. We get to eat it over time instead of rushing it, and then we're left with nothing for a month.
No, I completely agree. Although I do accept that people do feel differently about these things, don't they,
Yeah,
Sarah? It's only natural. I think we've all got set in our ways as viewers, haven't we, Sarah?
Yeah, I think we have. But I mean, Doctor Who, to me, it works best being, weekly and not a binge watch. And certainly not, when it's something new. I mean, classic Who, of course, you can binge watch that. But yeah, when it's something brand new, it needs time to kind of rest in between. And also, and it makes the use of, all the media coverage and everybody talking about it and all that, word of mouth. So personally, I think it'd be a bit silly if it all came out at once.
Yeah, it would. Carol Jude, she says, wow, I'm actually home for this. Howdy all. Howdy, Carol.
Hi, Carol.
Hello.
I think that's the first howdy. I do like a howdy, Jack.
Yes.
Yeah, it does. It does mix it up.
Howdy to Shah. Happy
Hi,
Monday,
Shah.
peeps.
She's sneakily watching while she's meant to be working. I see you, Shah.
Don't tell your gaffer. Actually, seeing as he won't be a gaffer for very long, you give him a couple of these. What's he going to do, Shah? Good to see you there. The Retro Doc Gary Akers asks, he says, any weekend without another bizarre Ncuti Gatwa outfit or divisive Russell T Davies casting announcement is a good one. So that's a low bar there. We may have something for you to see with Ncuti in a couple of minutes, Gary, so stay tuned.
Just for you, Gary.
Hello there, says Darren Zone. Hello there, wherever you are, Darren. I think he's deep in a cave somewhere in Wales. I think sometimes he goes to ground, which well, that sounds bad. Well, you know what I mean. Maybe he does, come to think of it. I mean, dig a hole deep enough, nobody'll ever find it, will they, Darren? But he's off having fun. He's very much at one with nature, I think, and at one with his soul. Is Darren? He does strike me as that kind of guy. Yeah. The Daleks are meddling with Starry's audio, advises Oti. Yeah, so he thinks it could be the Daleks.
It's either them or it's the BBC.
I'll put it past him, to be fair. Paul Flint says, hiya.
Hi, Paul.
Hiya, Paul Flint. I do recognise he was in last week, wasn't he? And a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, it takes a while, Paul, but I'll get there in the end. You've got to give me a little bit of time there. Yes, there he is. Whoa. Lovely to see everybody in the panel and the chat. Well, it's lovely to see you too, Wendy. I can't wait, says Time Lord 2023, for the concert to start on the radio. Well, yeah, you're going to get a little bit of a wait for that, and we're going to be talking about it later on. We're going to peep inside, not exactly behind the curtain, but from the very floor of the concert. So you're going to want to listen to that later on when our friend comes in. I prefer 3 weeks too, so Dalius is on board for what we're out there. Oh, but Paul here, he'd prefer to have 3 days.
Okay, well,
yeah. Oh, he says the waiting drives me mad.
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's understandable.
We do understand that, Paul, yeah.
At least you're honest, mate. At least you're honest. Gary says if it's 3 days instead of 3 weeks, that's a sure sign the BBC want to push past the specials to quickly get to the Ncuti tidal wave. Yeah, I think it probably would. But as I think I said the other day, I think they're all about building this show back into all our viewing habits, so that hopefully that I've got everything crossed for this, Jack. I sincerely have. Yeah, everything's crossed all round. 2 howdies, howdy.
Howdy.
Never going to get too much with the howdies. I do love the howdies. Pretty sure it will be weekly, says Paul. Yes, well, who knows? Talk of the Happy Mondays and the specials, definitely an 80s music vibe tonight. Twisting my melon, man. My melon's been twisted a lot over the last 4 or 5 years watching Jodie Whittaker episodes of Doctor Who, but I think I've gone pretty much 360. So I'm right back now, well positioned and well oiled to begin this all new era. I hope you are there too in the live chat as well. And lastly, we've got one from Dalius who warns us here. A shot is fired. And Dalius says, I've been making my own cinematic trailers this weekend, making myself all hyped up. Now, that sounds just wrong, so I'll ignore the last bit of that sentence, and I'll just say we're looking forward. If you're going to make any of those trailers public, that we'd all like to see that. Not so much the other stuff, but just have fun, Dallas. That's what it's all about. In fact, I always get the impression when I see your work online that you are having a lot of fun making it, and I think that really transmits and translates and all that kind of thing. So more comments, everybody, please keep them coming. We want your views, your takes on all of this nonsense that we're going to get stuck into over the next however long. And yeah, we've got a guest coming in not too far into the future, but before they get here, we've got a few things to get into and a couple of reminders too, like this one.
Greetings, I am K9. If you have an inquiry and Siri or Alexa cannot help, maybe I can. Have you ever wondered if time travel is possible? Or what can a sonic screwdriver do? I may have the answers. Please leave your questions in the comments below.
Rock and roll.
I love that.
Fantastic, isn't it? Good old Sylv giving it a blast. Yeah, giving it the what's it, the Ronnie James Dios? Some of that. Yeah. Who'd have thought it? So yes, over the last day or two, despite the fact it has gone a little bit quiet in Doctor Who land, it's still been trending. Our names like Matt Smith and David Tennant, they've all been trending, and so has Ncuti Gatwa and various other things. And that's what we're going to get stuck into now. What is trending? And Gary Akers mentioned this a little moment ago, where he speculated, what on earth? We need to know what Ncuti Gatwa is wearing. I don't know about you, Jack. I mean, it has got to the point where I can barely go a day or two where I can't think to myself, I wonder what Ncuti Gatwa's wearing today. Is that...
Well, I mean, in terms of Doctor outfits, I mean, we've got plenty to choose from now in terms of in terms of what to think about. Yeah.
I think it's gold for content creators. Shoot his outfits.
I think it could be. Yeah, so we don't know what he's wearing, but we have got this little look. Now, it looks like we looked at this a couple of weeks ago because another night shoot is going to happen this week. Now, whether or not it's new material for Series 15 or pickups for Series 14 or a Christmas special, could be the next Christmas special, because I know that's about to shoot too. They're going to shoot something. So just like Miller Gibson was on location about 2 weeks ago, Ncuti is making his way there now. And he's been off on holiday, bless him. And he posted this from Instagram. He says, what does he say? So he's got the tune playing there, Amy Winehouse, Back to Black, summer's over and she's had her fun. And the hint is there that he's switching his look back from the peroxide blonde. I don't know what you call that. Is that the Pat Butcher look?
I'm leaning more on Eminem.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, he's going back from Eminem to Kool and the Gang, by the looks of things there in the top corner. So that's what's going on with Ncuti. He's in the salon, Jack, getting his hair done to be the Doctor again. So something is afoot, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing that, whatever filming is taking place, as you said, there could be a variety of things. So I reckon, we are about to see a fair bit of public stuff again, which is weird to think because we haven't even had the 60th specials yet, and they're moving on to the next lot of...
so much we haven't seen, and they're cranking it out.
Yeah, they really are. But hey, if this means that they're going to be putting a lot of passion into the show again, then I'm all for it.
Passion and momentum.
Yeah,
that's what. I'll leave it. But that has been the missing ingredient. Garbage speculates more filming and reminds us Russell T Davies did promise relentless Doctor Who on TV, and says Ncuti fashion is my middle name, Gatwa. Yes, he does. Look, I like the fact that he takes a lot of pride in his appearance and has fun with clothes and his look. To be honest, I mean, in all fairness, as long as I can take the piss, I'm fine with it, Sarah. You know.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's all just a bit of fun anyway.
Of course it is.
But it is exciting that they are really running with this, and it does prove, like what Jack was saying, that RTD and the team, they are serious about getting this, massive ball rolling and not making us wait too long. So I'm all for that.
Another thing that's going on this last weekend has been the Conservative Party conference, everybody, for 2023. And this, I'll pause for the groans now. Let's get it all out of the way. The Conservative Party conference. Yes, so what we don't do party politics here at Type 40 Live, as I'm sure you know, but the Conservative Party conference, that runs from Sunday the 1st of October right the way through to this coming Wednesday at the Manchester Central Convention Complex. And would you believe it, Sarah? You might be wondering why I'm mentioning this.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm waiting to see where this is going.
Doctor Who, you could say there's a fair amount of aliens roaming around there. But it turns out, I would never have imagined this, but Doctor Who has a presence at the Conservative Party conference, or more accurately, the BBC does. This is their booth up there at the Manchester Convention Complex there.
Oh, really?
A classic series Dalek Jack and a lovely, great big picture of the 15th Doctor on the back wall. And a set that looks like something more like something out of an Apple shop, doesn't it? Well, but yeah, this struck me as very strange.
Yeah, of all the places to expect Doctor Who at a political party booth, I never thought that would be.
Yeah, it's there all weekend. And if you notice on the bottom there, on the floor, Sarah, there's a few roundels with different shots there. There's one of Tom Baker, Lalla Ward and K9. Another one, I think, of Delia Derbyshire. I think the other one is of a couple of people. I forgot their names, a couple of ladies. And one, I think, is of John Pertwee. So there they are, a bit of Doctor Who history there. But it is all there for the BBC. It's just the BBC for everyone. And it's obviously there to represent them, more so than just Doctor Who. But this is something that I wasn't aware this actually went on, Jack. And through doing a little bit of digging, I want to thank David Chipper on Twitter for sharing this, because he's a journalist he's covering the party conference, and he's also a massive geek. And he published this up onto Twitter. But what I didn't know is that the BBC has a booth just like this at every party conference for every major political party.
Oh, really?
Wow.
I mean, I suppose it makes sense now you stop and think about it, doesn't it, Jack? Because they're the national broadcaster paid for by
it does, yeah.
But it's just really weird to see this installation, because it does look very swanky, doesn't it?
Yeah, that Dalek, that's the thing that catches my eyes straight away, because that's probably the best classic looking Dalek I've ever laid eyes upon. I've got to say.
It does. I don't know if it's an official one or a homemade one, but it's very authentic, isn't it? Very authentic.
It is.
Yeah,
it really is.
Feels like a threat to me, says. And there's a comment I'm not going to read out there from Bunch of Wallace. Love the Daleks, says Paul Flint. And Dalek, you have one job, says Darren Sowen. That is unusually bipartisan for the BBC. That was what I thought initially, Aidan, until I found out again from David that, it turns out they do have a presence at any conference for any major political party. I say it does make sense, but it's just very amusing to see a Dalek
just
there.
Very random, yeah. Well, there you see, you learn something new when you watch Type 40. Wasn't expecting that today.
No, we do like to give people the unexpected. Well, it just, if you speak to, there are people within the Doctor Who community. In fact, one guy who works on a podcast with, actually, I think it's with Kenny. I think it's on the Power of Three. He's got a co-host who certainly was an MP, and he speaks on that show quite regularly about how in the Houses of Parliament there's a kind of a cult TV club. When there's numerous geeks, all old classic TV, they get together and watch old Doctor Who's and things like that on lunch breaks, or when they're doing whatever they're trying to duck out of work doing, the kind of thing. So it turns out that we are literally, us geeks, us Doctor Who geeks, Jack, we are literally everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, as we were just talking about, literally, out anywhere you'd expect anything Doctor Who related to have a presence at a political party conference. That's just the mind,
What
it has got to make my day.
Maybe after all that we've said and heard in recent years, maybe they're human after all, and it's all for the love of Doctor Who, just like the reason that we get together and talk about it here on Type 40 Live and on the podcasts and everything else, and that brings you guys together there in the live chat too on Facebook, Rumble, and over there on YouTube. So thank you everybody for joining us. You're going to want to be in on this too, for the love of Doctor Who, for the love of great conversation on the Type 40 Doctor Who podcast. You can get that across all major podcatchers and our home feed, type40.podbean.com. Brand new episode coming this week. This is when Sarah and myself and Stephen Noonan, we got together to talk about, I think, what we have to call, Sarah, now, a proper piece of classic Doctor Who. It's nearly 20 years old.
Yeah.
The 2005 story Father's Day. Do you remember?
I do remember it very well. We had a lot of fun, and to me, it's a modern classic as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
and that's all I'm going to say because I don't want to spoil it.
Yes, it's not quite as long as the last show that we did with Stephen, but it's up there. So it's a whole evening's worth of entertainment for you there, looking not just at that classic story from all the way back in 2005, but we also look at the Christopher Eccleston era, don't we, Sarah, about his incarnation and how it all made us feel when the show came back. So that's 21st century nostalgia just for you on Type 40 Doctor Who podcast. Just keep subscribed to the channel Type 40 here on YouTube and across all major podcatchers as well for all of that. More Type 40 Live, of course, is coming up later on in the week with our usual Big Thursday panel show. So don't miss that either. Get yourself settled down. We've got a guest. We're going to get stuck right into this. So please like the video now, subscribe to the channel, and hit the cloister bell to get all the notifications about what we're doing next and when we're doing it.
Well, according to the Lord High President, I seem to have caused a problem in the universe. Well, it isn't me, it's probably the Time Lords, continually using me as some kind of galactic yo-yo. Might I suggest you actually watch Type 40 podcast? That should have all the answers you need. There's always time. Well, I have rather an abundance of it, don't I?
Rock and roll. Just as we came back for this run of Type 40 Live, this Diamond Anniversary run, if you like, it was announced a special live concert marking Doctor Who's big birthday would indeed be taking place after a lot of speculation. We all thought they'd given up on the idea. It was just we all said with a load of party poppers stood in the car park at Lidl.
I know, it was. That's what it felt like.
No date was given, but we did know right away. We knew the location, which is a start, isn't it? So it was the brand new home of the BBC National Orchestra and Chorus of Wales. So that's who lives here. That's where they reside. And this is the BBC's Hodinett Hall in Cardiff, Jack. What do you make? It looks like it's made out of recycled bits of old tat, doesn't it? But I'm sure.
I mean, that's very fitting for the BBC, but it does kind of look like a spaceship as well, with a weird Doctor Who way.
One arc or something, yeah. A few road cones and things around the bottom. But yeah, it's growing on me. Let's put it that way. It's growing on me. I would imagine that the tunes resonate. It's got a very good. What do they call it? Acoustics. Acoustics. That's the word I'm looking for. So yeah, the idea was there's this concert's going to be taking place here, and fans, Doctor Who fans, we were invited to take part in a phone lottery to get, in effect, Sarah, a Willy Wonka style golden ticket, weren't we, to this event promised to celebrate every era of the show's history in musical form. Irresistible, wasn't it?
It was. It was just, The only downside, of course, was the shockingly low time limit. It was ridiculous, 36 hours.
Yes, so in fact you were dialing it, weren't you? You were trying to register for yours whilst we were actually live here on the show. That's how dedicated we are at Type 40 Live. Straight on the case. We don't care what's going on fingers on the pulse all the time. So that's all going on. Of course, this being an orchestra, the focus is going to be more on 21st century Doctor Who, and all the various tunes that we've had over the last 18 years, instantly identifiable pieces of music, movements, I suppose, that have stayed with a lot of us over that time. Here on the show, we were perplexed by all the secrecy, and even more by the insistence that if you wanted to go, you had to be over 18. So I don't know what was going on. Hopefully we'll find out in a minute. But eventually all was revealed, and the ticket winners were notified by a random, yes, it was a completely random draw, and they let people know by email.
Mhm.
And that's when the date was revealed, the 28th of September 2023, taking place in Cardiff. They celebrate the glorious musical sounds of Doctor Who in this 60th anniversary concert for Radio 2. So there's confirmation then that it was going to be broadcast as well. So very, very exciting, but obviously only if you're one of the lucky people who gets chosen at completely random to go to the thing. Everybody was notified, and the concert did happen last week. And we're going to get to hear and see it in due course. But our caller on this edition of the show, so we do have a caller, he was there, and he's here to give us his report from the very floor of Hodinett Hall in the presence of the stars and production personnel of Doctor Who itself. So a big Type 40 Live welcome to our guest tonight. This is Ian Kildin. Hiya, Ian.
Hello.
Hello, Ian. Welcome.
Hello, Ian.
Hello.
Good to meet you. Have you recovered from last Thursday night yet?
It was a bit of a blast. It did take some recovery, but the 8.5-hour car journey back certainly brought things down into perspective a little bit. Yeah, stuck outside Sheffield for a long time. Yeah. Sheffield roads aren't that fun, really.
So Ian, you had an 8.5 hours there and back, the round trip?
No, it was about 6 hours there, and we got stuck in some traffic around Birmingham. And then on the way back, yeah, even more round Sheffield on the way back. And it was.
Oh no, that's me as well.
Yeah,
both
of you two. Yeah, but it was worth it. It was.
So where are you from in Great Britain then? Where's your general location?
Just outside of York.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, obviously it was a big old trip. Obviously, you're a massive Doctor Who fan, but are you a music fan generally? Are you interested in this kind of music, orchestral music?
Not really. I suppose if I had a personal preference, it'd be more synthesizer stuff. I've always liked the old, the real synthesizer music that they used to have in Doctor Who and stuff like that. But the orchestral stuff has certainly grown on me, probably influenced by when the series returned and it was more orchestral in origin and stuff like that. And I would certainly say that I'm a convert now. When you're at something like this and you're sat there, and of course you can hear it, but you can feel it as well. All the massive drum beats and everything. You feel those going through you, and you really feel part of it. And it was really, you could bone jangling. Really, it was hell of an experience. Yeah.
Because obviously this is the difference, isn't it, between live music and recorded music? Obviously you get goosebumps, don't we, Jack? Everybody gets goosebumps when you hear a record that sort of hits that sweet spot. But there is something about live music of any kind.
I think when quite early on, they had, because they're recording it for Radio 2, Sunday night is music night, and they had Joe Wiley doing all the comparing and everything. But very early on in it, they brought out Peter Howell and Mark Ayres, and they did a little medley of various bits that included some of the original Dalek stings from the Daleks with William Hartnell, and then they moved through. They had the marching Cybermen from Moonbase, and a little bit of the Sea Devils. They had Tom Baker right at the end of Logopolis. It's the end, but the moment's being prepared for that.
So they, in musical form, they took you through a sort of suite of music that was reminiscent of the passage of the classic show. Is that
absolutely
accurate?
Yeah? And City of Death as well. They did some from that, which is a timeless piece, isn't it? I don't think anybody doesn't like City of Death's soundtrack, and all the way through. And it was just, it brought you right into the 21st century series. It was wonderful. I didn't expect Peter Howell or Mark Ayres, so to see them, and they got a little bit of an interview as well after that. It was it was a nice touch.
So it was an evening of music.
That's all their kit in the picture there. That's all their
That's
kit.
it. That's a picture courtesy of Mark Ayres there on Twitter. That's their setup. So that was the idea, wasn't it? It was a whole evening, couple of hours of music, intersped with chats with the people responsible, either the musicians or Doctor Who production personnel, and you guys got to hear it all there. It looks like there was quite a lot of people there. Do you know what the capacity was there, Ian?
I don't, to be quite honest. I think it's probably, at a guess, seating area, probably maybe 300, possibly. At a guess.
So it's you wouldn't exactly call it intimate, but it's not massive either.
No, I can actually see myself in that picture.
So where are you? Where are you roughly?
I'm. If you can see the conductor.
Yes.
Yes.
Just to the left of the conductor's feet, or
Yes.
to the left of the conductor's legs, that is Chris Chibnall.
Yes.
To the right of Chris Chibnall is, I think, Julie Gardner.
Yes.
I mean, I've always seen her with black curly hair, but now it's blonde. And
last time I saw a picture of her, she was blonde. Yeah.
Right. Well, that was definitely Julie Gardner, and then to the right of Julie Gardner, that's me.
Wow.
Oh,
So you're right there, right on the front row.
Yeah, I'd said to my friend who was to the right of me that if Chibnall sat next to me, I would chin him because, there's 5 years of pain there. And of course, so he sat once. He put Julie Gardner between us, clearly for his own safety. He was wearing brown trousers, though, was Chibnall. So probably
no, the battle of wills I'm having not to say based. I'm going to move on. But yeah, wow, so you were...
Chibnall, you can see next to Chibnall, there is a very tall person. That's Russell T Davies.
I think there's only one person that could be.
Yeah. And then to the left of him is Moffat. And then there's a couple of others, a lady and a gent that I didn't recognise. And then there's Sylvester McCoy.
Oh, that's lovely. So that means Russell has got to meet Sylvester, because when it was Sylvester's birthday a month, 6 weeks ago, Jack, if you remember, he sent him that message on Instagram saying how he'd never met him. They obviously got to meet that night.
Yeah,
they did.
Russell T Davies, though, when Julie Gardner and Chris Chibnall walked in first, and they just came and sat down, and then the rest of them came out, and people saw. Obviously, you can't miss Russell T Davies, can you, when he walks in, because he's like 18 feet tall, and the place just erupted. He got such a welcome, such a massive round of applause, and I think it quite took him aback, really. But he was very well received.
Paul Flint asks in the live chat on YouTube here, Ian, most likely searched before entry. So were you searched for recording devices and things like that?
No. Well, I had a bag with a camera in it, and he just said, "Sorry, you're not allowed to take photos," and said, "That's fine." And you were in. And that was it. No problems at all. I mean, obviously, if I'd got the camera out, they would have seen me, and I'd have been booted out, and I didn't want that. So it just kept it away. There was a guy a couple of seats to my right who he had a CD cover to an album folded into his passport, which was a bit bizarre, and he was desperate apparently to get Murray Gold to sign it. But he also kept waving around his mobile phone, and he got told a couple of times and warned that any more he was out. And so I think he was a little bit chastened after that.
They got the heavies on them, got the heavies. Personally, I would never argue with Jo Whiley, not least of all because I think she can probably look after herself. But I really like this woman, and she's a massive Doctor Who fan, always has been.
Huge.
And she put this up on Instagram on the night after. So it says, last night was the stuff of dreams. Doctor Who has been a huge part of my life since I used to hide behind the sofa at my grandparents', quaking at the sight of the Sontarans. The only society I joined when I went to Brighton Polytechnic was the Doctor Who Appreciation Society. So you can imagine how big a deal this is to me. So yeah, then she plugs the radio transmission that's coming later on. And there's Russell there saying something nice back to her. And she says, thanks to Mercantile London for helping me find this outfit. Felt very Silurian in it. It's absolutely beautiful to wear. So she just seems like a really good sport, Jo Whiley. So was some of that giddiness apparent from Jo while she was being the sort of MC of this event then, Ian?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Her enthusiasm came across. I mean, she didn't look forced at all. She is definitely a diehard fan, and that came across. She knew her stuff. And when she was introducing people, she didn't need to look at her notes to do a little preamble before she brought them on. She is an absolute. She's one of us, definitely. She is one of us.
We are everywhere, Jack. Like I said earlier on,
we are in places you don't expect as well.
So, Jack, did you try and get tickets for this event?
Yes, I did, and I didn't even realise they'd been announced, same as Sarah as well. But I saw through someone commenting to someone else that they got tickets, so I had a little dig in for the website, and I was reading through the terms and conditions, because I do sometimes do that, and I noticed that even if you're selected for tickets and you're successful, they oversell them still. So if you turn up on the day and say you turn up late, you're not guaranteed entry.
Really?
Yeah. Like, imagine traveling, like as Ian did, like traveling like a long way, and say if you're running late and they've got no seating, you're basically screwed.
They're not supposed to do that anymore. They used to do that for Strictly, apparently, and they don't do it anymore because people would travel a lot for that. I think they only get 300 or 400 in at Strictly, and quite a few tens or hundreds of thousands apply for each episode.
That would be absolutely maddening, yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You'd travel that far, definitely. You'd be livid. Absolutely.
And I can think of a couple of people maybe you'd want to turf out. But there's some fantastic pictures. Obviously, there were no pictures were allowed to be taken on the night by attendants, but pictures have surfaced. They're gradually drifting out. I imagine that there'll be more released in due course. We've got some titans of TV here with the bloke who wrote Broadchurch too. He's there as well. And there's lots of smiles and lots of other things, lots of Daleks and other sorts of things floating around as well. So we've got some pictures to look at in a short while. We've got a comment here from Time Lord 2023. Directed, this is for you, Ian. What was your favourite moment you took from the concert that night?
I think it was hearing the new theme, because they did it right at the end. And because they'd given us 3 new pieces. They'd given us Ruby Sunday's theme. Very, very piano-based. And apparently Russell T Davies disclosed that her character is going to play the piano. So she's a pianist in the series, and you'll first hear the tune. You'll first hear her theme, I think, as she plays it. And then they did the 15th Doctor's theme, which is really up-tempo and really, really good. I liked it. But then they did the new theme, and it just really just stirred the blood. It got you going. It was like that was where you really felt, you know what, this series is back again, and you feel really positive about it. The whole place was buzzing when they said that they were going to play it. They went out on that. It was a massive ovation. I mean, it really long standing ovation. And then the conductor walks out, and then he comes back, and he just said, "Let's do it again." And they played it again. And honestly, it's you know how the theme developed from 2005 right the way through to End of Time with Tennant.
Yeah.
And then Matt Smith, it went off in a different tangent, and then Capaldi, it went very nasally, and then Jodie Whittaker will just forget about. But if you take it from the end of Time, and if you can imagine just sort of like moving it on a bit, just in the same way it's progressed, it's very much in the style of, but different at the same time. And very well received.
The Mecha Rannan asks here on YouTube, Ian, do you actually get the new theme or just an orchestral version of it?
I think that is the actual thing. I think all the music is orchestral now. And you saw on one of the pictures the singers up on the back row. And as part of the theme, the singers were doing their vocally bit to it, as well. So it seems like it actually has a voice element to it.
A vocal component, yeah.
Yeah, but honestly, I can't undersell it or oversell it, really. It is, I think, really, really good. Really, really good. I think
the time scales has chipped in the live chat and says not everyone gets goosebumps from music. That is called synthesia, and goosebumps are most common but not universally observed. Thank you for that. Timescales, yeah. Where were this is from Town Ni who asks, where were Murray Gold and Sagan Akinola sitting there, then, Ian?
Sagan was second row, I think, just slightly behind where Sylvester McCoy was. I didn't really notice him at first, and he came up and did a little speaky bit with Chibnall in the second half. Murray Gold seemed to be 2/3 of the way back, right on the left, and when everybody else left, he was still there, and he was surrounded, including by the guy with the CD covering his passport, wanting the signature. I think he was probably one of the last to leave. He couldn't move. He was mobbed, really. As was Sylvester. I felt sorry for Sylvester. I think he should have probably been escorted out with the others, and he was sort of like left there. A couple of people went in for photos. It was tempting, really tempting, because I don't have anything with Sylvester McCoy, and that would have been an opportunity, say, to get a photo with him where you're not paying 30 or 40 quid for the privilege kind of thing. But he's an old guy. He's getting on a bit, and he was getting mobbed, and you just think, no, I don't want to do that. But a few did, and then he sort of like managed to make his way out. But yeah, Murray Gold was up at the back, and he was still surrounded when I walked out.
Very, very popular guy, obviously. You need one of those Mission Impossible recording cameras in contact lens device, says Gary in the live chat. And the timescale says, so they said no photos, but did they ever say no recording devices? Well, I think it goes without saying, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I know for a fact people did record parts of that concert. I know for a fact they did. When it comes to these events, though, in all seriousness, Ian, it places a lot of. I mean, I don't know exactly how many people were there, but it was wide open to the fan base, and it sounds to me like in the actual event, how close you all sat there together. There was no divide between members of the public and the production personnel, and that everybody was there to share the experience and to revel in the past. Yes, but it does sound like they were very, very proud of the new stuff they were going to showcase as well.
Yeah, it was quite. I don't want to say intimate. It probably gives the wrong idea, but yeah. it was very intimate, I suppose. It was cozy, but not small, but not overly large either. You know, I mean, obviously, like you've already mentioned the acoustics and stuff like that, so it's obviously perfect for that kind of thing because it was designed for that. But it was, yeah, I mean, we got in first, which was great, and got to choose where to sit. So I wanted to go down the front. My friend said, well, there's some reserved ones there. And I said, right, well, I'm going there because, you know, you could be sat next to somebody interesting. And obviously was. And, but, you know, it filled up nicely. It wasn't crowded. It wasn't, you know, beforehand when people are talking, it wasn't deafening or anything. It was just the right size, right kind of atmosphere for an environment just for that kind of event. It was, yeah, it was all right. They did okay, the BBC, this time, you know, because they can cock things up sometimes, as I remember from Longleat many years ago.
Really? Oh, you as well. Everybody who was at Longleat is still suffering the after effects.
Still traumatized, yeah, therapy. Yeah. Cue anxiety.
Dahlia says one of my friends was sat next to Sagan Akinola. Not sure where, though.
Yeah, second row. So they'd have had a good view. Definitely.
I only have to mention Sylvester McCoy. Look at the reaction in the live chat there. People sorry,
nice features as well. You know, like I said, they brought out Peter Howell and Mark Ayres, and Stephen Moffat spoke, and it was quite light-hearted. I can't remember specifics of what Moffat said, so I don't know what that says about it. But it was all right, you know. And of course, Chibnall spoke, and he got a round of applause and everything, and that was fine. And Sagan was with him, and expressed how when he was when he was writing the music, he was pretty much petrified all the time, which was quite funny. But I did notice, because they're across talking to your left, so I was like looking forward like that, and sort of like half watching Chibnall, but I was watching Russell T Davies, because obviously he was literally 3 seats away. And I don't know if it was just the way I read it, possibly was, because obviously you might have guessed not a Chibnall fan. And whenever he made a joke or whatever, then, you know, Russell T Davies would, you know, and but the rest of it, his face was like concrete. He just, you know, it just seemed like, yeah, not impressed. That was the impression I get. It just, his face just didn't crack. It was, whereas when Moffat was speaking, he was quite animated, and when Chibnall was speaking, he just wasn't. And I had to say, that may have been the way I was just reading into it, because, you know,
yeah,
still preferences, but
yeah,
he certainly didn't seem that enthused when he was speaking. And then when he got up and spoke, again, there was massive rapturous applause. He was dynamic. He was very, very funny. He cracked a joke about, had Moffat been drinking when he'd written A Christmas Carol, you know, with fish flying through the air and a shark and turning this into snow that stopped a spaceship. I said, what had you been drinking? It was quite funny. It was good humoured. It was just when, like I say, when Chibnall was that brown trousers look, it was just when he was speaking, he didn't seem very enthused at all.
I suppose, not trying to be generous, I mean, it's not everybody is gregarious, are they, Jack?
No.
Yeah.
That's the thing, isn't it? You know, you can't. Russell T Davies, you've met him, Sarah. He is very, very outgoing, isn't he? And very warm and very, very much a people person. From what you've seen.
Yeah. Some people have got it, and some people haven't. That doesn't necessarily mean they're boring. I mean, I know we've all got our prejudices in the Chibnall era, but yeah, I think it is just different personalities.
I mean, the fact that he is boring, that's neither by the by. It's neither here nor there. I hope they all had a good evening there. Yeah, it does look good. We've got some more comments here and questions in the live chat, and we've got lots of love for Sylvester McCoy. Of course there is. And I've been waiting, says Aidan McGee, I've been waiting for a return to that style of theme for ages. Hopefully it won't disappoint when I finally hear it.
Fingers crossed.
Oh, we've all got that well. Some of us have heard it. So great to hear the music moved you, says Cybermat Strikes.
Yeah, it certainly did. It certainly did.
Can you tell us, Ian, which tracks they played from the... it's not New Who anymore, is it? Old New Who.
When they did the Jodie era, shiver when I say that. When they did that, it was a specially composed compilation, if you like, that Second had done for the actual show. So it was sort of like it was all sort of like wrapped up in one. But they did all the various companion themes leading up to the reveal of Ruby Sunday's theme, and obviously they did This Is Gallifrey, which was one of the first ones that they did, and obviously that was a buzz of excitement.
Well, that's the one. That's the one with the drum where you do feel it in your chest, don't you?
And the various Doctors thing. That it was like a tour de force of all the favourites that you get on the albums. And all the way through to Capaldi's "Am I a Good Man" and things like that. It was amazing. But there was a nice call out for Michael Gambon. Obviously, he just passed away, and there was a fantastic rendition of Abigail's song. Those singers, occasionally one would peel off to one side or the other and do solo bits, and that was amazing. And then the same lady and a chap did a version of the long song from Rings of Akaten. which again, you just sat there sometimes just with your eyes closed, just soaking it up. Honestly, it was, I will not forget. There was Emily Cook was there. They interviewed Emily Cook. She was actually playing in the orchestra. I think she was playing a sax.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Wow.
but she was interviewed, and they asked her about her, and I wasn't sure about this. I mean, I might be wrong. They interviewed her about her invention of the watch-alongs.
Yes.
And I know she did organise the ones with people from the era or from the series, but I thought the watch-alongs were going on an unofficial basis before that. Anyway, I don't know. I might be wrong. But they did ask her about that and had a little bit of a chat. So it was nice to hear from her. Quite a bubbly character. So yeah. But
it's that sense of community, that sense of almost family. To involve Emily like that as well, Sarah, when she's been so instrumental in this, what we're on the very threshold of now. She was a massive part of that happening, wasn't she?
Yes, she was. I mean, she kind of birthed the idea, really. She definitely sowed the seeds. Like you were saying, Ian, I think they had been unofficial watch-alongs with fans, and I know on Twitch, I remember there being a thing about, was it Classic Who? There was a big Twitch thing, but it was Emily that got the names in and got, because Catherine Tate wasn't even on Twitter, and I don't think Russell was or Grain Harper, so she was kind of instrumental in, getting, the names in to do that. But yeah, fantastic. I'm so glad she was able to be a part of it.
Got a question here from
she was playing an instrument. I didn't realise she was in the orchestra until I called her out.
Yeah.
We've got a question here from Bunch of Wallies. That's Only Fools and Horses reference. Who asks, does Ncuti's theme sound like Matt's? Well, Bunch of Wallies, you can hear it now in case you haven't already, because this has been released over on the internet. This is up on Twitter for anyone to hear, and this is from the choir themselves that have published this, so we can have a little listen now and check it out. Have you seen this yet, Sarah? Or have you heard it, should I say?
No, I've not heard this one, no.
Well, here we go. Where are we? Let's line this up. And so this is called 15, isn't it, Ian? And this is the theme for the 15th Doctor, for Ncuti Gatwa's incarnation. Obviously, all the Doctors have had them in the new series era, and this is going to be his. So check it out, everybody. Someone described that as, it sounds like a film from a Western movie or something, Sarah. When somebody's riding on horseback.
Is that the right one? Because that sounds like
No, it is the right one.
It is the right one. It sounds very 11th Doctor-ish.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
It doesn't sound it to me. I've got to be honest. I mean, I don't play an instrument at all. But people have clarinet. Is it clarinets and saxophones and things like that?
Yes.
And there was when it came to his theme, the 15th theme, two of the musicians came out to the front, and they had these, whatever they are. One was exceptionally large, and it had its own little leg that it stood on, and I was just fascinated by this. And my friend was looking at that and looking at me, and I went, "My word, it is a big one." and I just realised what I'd said, and I realised that at this point Julie Gardner was staring at me, and I thought, "Oh shit, what have I just said?" And I looked at her, absolutely cracked up. She has got quite a cackle. And so they got ready with these two things, and when it started, it was really, really fast paced, and they were like do. You know, that's obviously rubbish, but they're like doing very quick, sharp blows into these instruments. It's very and very fast paced. That to be honest, that didn't sound like it at all. Unless that's the tail end of it, which I just don't remember. But
they are adamant. It's on the choir's website themselves, on their Twitter feed as well. So you can go and follow them. That's BBC Vocal, I think they're called. You can go and follow them on social media and support them and see what it is they're doing next. There could be more Doctor Who stuff coming for all we know. We've got some more comments here in the live chat. The Doctor Who music is magical, says Paul Flint. Absolutely was. Delia's was magnificent, says Scott Goodman. Sarah, we all love and revere the memory of Delia Derbyshire, don't we?
We do, absolutely. And lovely to see you, Scott.
Scott is the guy who was the third Doctor in the cosplay video we had on earlier on there on the show.
His cosplay is amazing.
Yes. Yeah, we have comments. What have we got here? Chibnall owes Pip and Jane Baker an apology.
It certainly does.
Yes,
it really does.
So wonderful that Doctor Who style music is returning to Doctor Who, says the time scales. Yeah, but this is, I mean, I can understand. We've got several members of the Type 40 team who hunger for the days of the classic show where music was perhaps a little smaller and less orchestral. And I do recognise that. I respect the sentiment. But to a whole generation, this orchestral style, Jack, this is Doctor Who music. It is big. It is goosebump music.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, say if, I don't know, you've got a soundtrack or whatever, if you got it digital or physical and you're listening to it, 9 times out of 10 when you're listening to it, you've got that moment from Doctor Who where it's played in your head, you know. I think someone did say in the live chat that thing from the video is from the scene from the Pandora opens, you know, after Matt Smith does that grand speech.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, you know, hearing that brought me back to that moment, you know, where he's like pointing and then screaming at the sky. I think it's, phenomenal.
Psychic Beats says, I can't express how much I'm hoping the show is good again. This is certainly a good sign. I can't wait. Yeah. So, Ian, without giving us your life story over the last 4 or 5 years, I mean, was this a mindset that you went to the event in, or was it just for the joy of hearing all of the music? I mean, are you a little bit estranged from the show, or have you been? And does this make you feel similarly to Psychic Beats then?
I've definitely felt very estranged from it for the last few years. Yeah, I do think it was a huge mistake to cast Jodie Whittaker. I think it was just a total mistake to gender swap the character anyway. It was clear why the BBC were doing it, and they were pandering, and it failed, and it almost destroyed something that had been fantastic for 20 odd years previously, and then come back and was well on its way to another 20 odd years, and they almost killed it for good. And we're lucky really that Russell T Davies took it back again. But I went to that because it was a 60th event. It was going to be a nostalgia fest as far as the music was concerned. So that's always going to be an attraction, because nostalgia is great, isn't it? But also in the hope that you would get some indication of the direction that it was going to go in again. And I have been concerned. I have had concerns, and I've heard concerns expressed on previous Type 40s, you know, and I share them. That is in his older years, has Russell T Davies got a little bit more
militant,
radical and militant, because certainly he's certainly come out very bluntly occasionally about other things, and you don't know, is he going to try and push an agenda this time? But I think he loves Doctor Who, and he always has, just as much as we do. And I think regardless of agendas and stuff like that, I think he's not going to do anything that's going to harm this show that we all love. I don't think Will ever got it, to be quite honest. I know he was a fan. I remember him in the 80s.
He never had a take. But looking back to the music slightly, and this goes with the whole production, really. I think what happened was, it's one thing to decide you're going to do something ideologically, politically, to do something massive and divisive. But I think what compounded it all was basically throwing the baby out with the bathwater as well. It all went on principle. And if Murray Gold wanted to move on, I think we can all understand and respect that, can't we, Sarah? He's been doing it a very, very long time. And it's not that Sagan Akinola isn't a talented man and shouldn't be doing what he does. I mean, I've heard some of his playlists on SoundCloud. It's beautiful music. But to try and bring in a style of music that simply didn't support the show, to generate just as Dahlia says, emotional hitting music, to have something that does sort of send a shiver right up your spine, Jack. Doctor Who absolutely needs that.
That's the thing as well, when the material that we're seeing visually on screen isn't the best anyway, in majority of the cases. Like the soundtrack and the visuals, they kind of complement each other anyway. So even if the music, which I did think in some parts was pretty good, obviously not as good as what we had before, but when it's kind of overshadowing what's the main thing, is what the viewers are seeing, the impact is lessened a lot. And as we're moving away from that era now, who's going to remember the Cybermen or the Dalek themes in years to come? Whereas the Cybermen and the Dalek themes, say, from the original RTD era, we're going to be remembering that for lifetimes.
I haven't actually played the CDs or anything like that in quite a long time, but I can still remember them. Shah says in the live chat, she's still there, says, I'm so envious, but I'm so glad you got to experience that. That's for you there. Bless her heart. Timescale says Emily Cook was a hero in organising the lockdown and watch-alongs and special stories across media. She was. Lots of more speculation about Russell T Davies and Chris Chibnall. We have talked about that on Type 40 Live. I may tell you a little bit more if I'm feeling particularly playful. Because oh, God. What else? Let's have a look what's going on. I was asking... speculation about that clip that we played. Look, I'm only going by what they say on social media. Don't shoot the messenger. What else have we got? In fact, it's pretty abundant. People recognize that music from something else. Hey, again, I'm just saying what I've read there. Michael says, hi, everyone. Hello, Michael.
Hi, Michael.
And the Classic 80s Fanboys says, Russell T Davies is right. Orchestral music can produce emotions that you can't get from synthesized music. Well, I think
it's scale as well, isn't it? I mean, in the 1980s, Doctor Who was by necessity small scale and I don't want to say cheap, but a lot of the time it was cheap because they just didn't have any money, did they? And it was... The music matched what it was. Occasionally, the music got it just right and sounded like in the run-up in Remembrance of the Daleks, episode 1, where they're in the run-up to the soldier getting exterminated. And that little sting of music that runs up to that just before he gets shot, that's quite up-tempo and matched the scale of that story and matched the scene. But a lot of the time, I think back to things like Trial of a Time Lord at the end of that first 4-episode block, where all the Doctor's got to do is got Perry just pressing a load of buttons and there's just synthesizer music that is literally and you think, whereas now they've got more money, the effects are so much bigger, better and easier to accomplish, and the scale is massive now. And I don't think you could do it with just synthesizer music. I think you have to have, and all the big cinema themes for sci-fi and everything, they're all orchestral themes, aren't they? Because you need that full ensemble to really give you, gravitas. Is that what it
Well,
brings?
to fill a cinema, a surround sound cinema. Now that the average home, I suppose, Jack, most people either have home cinema systems or a sound bar. Television sound has come on considerably, hasn't it? Since the old days where you've got a single speaker built into an old TV. People pick and choose how they want their sound distributed around their home on wireless devices and things.
Yeah, and as we briefly touched upon earlier, when you're watching Doctor Who, the music helps you be immersed in the scene because it does help with the scale. Especially with the Dalek stuff. You want that hard hitting music to show what's going on. Like Daleks invading the streets of London. All adds to that cinematic scale, which it does look like we're getting. So fingers crossed, the music can deliver as well.
Got a comment here from Gregory Jones on YouTube who says, "I always thought songs and Who dovetailed beautifully when I first heard Here's to the Future in Delta and the Bannermen."
You had to do it, Gregory. You had to bring it up.
Every single show. Cheers, Gregory. Great comment.
I've got to admit that I'm a fan of Delta and the Bannermen. I've got to be honest.
Yes, good man.
I'm leaving.
It was Delta and the Bannermen was so different because it was actually 3 episodes of actual action-packed action. Right from the very start, right to the end. Even exploding tents, even right in the middle. Satellites crashing, big explosions and battles on alien planets, right in the start that looked convincing.
Sell it to him, Ian. You sell it to him.
Then when it went to 1950s, it was 1950s music. It was just Delta and the Bannermen. What's
I
not
like
to
the 50s music.
love? Brilliant stuff. Yes, we've scratched an itch here.
Sorry, Charles, there's no accounting for taste, is there? But I still like you.
Yeah, Charles says that she likes it. To be honest, I actually quite liked it as well. That special arrangement, the intro thing. But yeah, I don't dislike Sagan on principle, but he was the wrong man in the wrong job, in my opinion, generally speaking. Yes, we've got and Adam Fredo's watching on YouTube and says Sagan's Spymaster theme was actually quite good. I just didn't like a majority of the soundtrack. It's isolated bits here and there that were good because the man is a professional musician. I think we shouldn't be churlish about this. He's very, very successful at what he does. I've no doubt he will go on to do bigger and certainly better things. And I do wish, in the case of Sagan, I wish him every success in any project that he takes on next. Good evening, all from Dalek6388. Good to see you, John. Hope you're keeping well, buddy. Yeah, I think the evil Dan meme made the master theme iconic. You don't mean this, Dan, do you? You mean something else? I don't know what he's talking about there, but I think he's talking about, is that John Bishop's character in?
Yeah, there was some memes that spun off from Flux where he's like, being evil.
Yeah, I've deliberately, as I think we've established, I've tried to scrub my brain of everything associated with Flux. We've unearthed a coven of Delta and the Bannermen enthusiasts, which is absolutely fantastic. Of course it is. It's totally fine by us, isn't it?
That's the face I fall.
We'll work on you person by person. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the cloister bell to get all the notifications about what we're doing next and when we're doing it. So this is, let me get this right. This is coming. Yes, people have been asking in the live chat, are we going to be able to see this? Are we going to be able to hear it? And yes, we are. Doctor Who at 60, a musical celebration, will be broadcast on BBC Radio 2. This is coming on Sunday, the 15th of October. On Radio 2 between 8 and 10 p.m. and it'll be available to hear on BBC Sounds, on the Sounds app afterwards, and it has been filmed for the BBC iPlayer, so it won't be going on television, on BBC 4, anything like that. You'll be able to get it on the iPlayer in a video form. That's to be broadcast at a later date, but we are getting it on the radio as part of Sunday night is Music Night on Radio 2. Hopefully most of it will be in there. I'd like to think they won't remove parts of it. I think that would be a great shame. Because I think the profile of Doctor Who at the moment, Sarah, it really isn't that much of a coup for a few people, the people who really love it so much, to hear the new signature tune and all those things properly coming out of their device as a bit of a birthday treat for the 60th. What do you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They've kept us waiting this long. It's about time fans' patience was rewarded. So yeah, I'd be very disappointed if they weren't included.
Will you be listening, Ian, to the radio on the 15th of October there to relive it? Or are you happy with your memories?
Very happy with my memories, but I'll certainly listen to it again. And I imagine they will probably release that on a CD as well. They'd be daft not to be quite honest. They had a photographer that was wandering around, but they did have a fixed camera across to the right looking across. So that's probably where they were filming it from. But yeah, I'll definitely be listening. It started at 7:30 and it was supposed to finish at 10 and it finished at about 10:15. But right at the very start, they had to have the usual housekeeping bits and pieces, behaviours and fire escapes and things like that. And then Jo Wiley came out and then she wound everybody up to do a big applause as they would start the recording. She made a couple of fluffs in various bits, so they'll cut those out. And then, of course, there was an intermission, an interval. So once all that's there, it's probably down to about 2 hours. So I would imagine they're playing it in its entirety, which is great, because nothing deserves to be cut out from that night. It was that good. So, yeah. Should be everything.
I hadn't thought about that. What do you think? Would that be a definite buy for you there, Jack, if they put it out on CD?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm a Doctor Who collector anyway, as you can tell. But, yeah, just being able to hear those tracks and some of the older ones reworked as well would be, it'd be phenomenal.
Definitely. You've made a rod for your own back there now, Dan. There will be an evil Type 40 Dan meme.
Yes. Everybody get to work.
A threat and a promise from Charlotte. She says, I will make IG. I will make it. Oh, she means it. I think an Instagram. I thought you were going to turn into an influencer there. Thank you, Charlotte. The Classic 80s fanboy says, I'm sure I've mentioned before that Murray's style is modern classical compared to Sagan's contemporary. You may have done, Carl, but it probably passed me by. I'm not a musical ignoramus, but I'm obviously not as learned as your good self. So thanks for reminding us of the difference there between the two composers. This is great, Ian. Thank you for the inside scoop, says the time scales in the live chat. Thank you very much. And lots more. People want it on CD and all that kind of thing. Yeah, I still favour the CD because, like you say, Jack, when you collect stuff, you want it to line up, don't you? Yeah. And I know, Sarah, you've got lots of soundtrack CDs. We're going to come to those in a moment, aren't we? It's lots to get into. So yes, that is coming on Sunday, the 15th of October. We'll definitely be talking about it on a future edition of Type 40 Live. So get the old earbuds in. And maybe we can sit there waving two little sticks of wood in the air whilst we do that on a Sunday evening, then get back to you. We can all talk about what a brilliant night we've had by the looks of things. But if it's anything half as good as Ian here has explained so beautifully, thank you so much, Ian, for telling us all about your experience that evening. It does sound very, very special. We're going to talk some more music if you like, so stick around by all means if you wish. First of all, we're going to have a bit of a break. This is an ideal time for everybody out there. If maybe you feel the call of nature, or you just need a bit of a top-up of whichever beverage of your choice is sat in your glass, now is the ideal time. We've got Type 40 Live, Doctor Who ad break coming right up. These are some morsels, I suppose, that we've teased out of the time continuum that feature Doctor Who faces and voices from those decades past. See how many that you remember and recognise. Then meet us back here in a couple of minutes for more Type 40 Live.
I bet he drinks Carling Black Label.
If the pint you like gives you that bit more, you can bet it's Carling Black Label.
Time is running out.
The destiny of the Doctors is in your hands.
In a game like nothing on Earth, with old enemies and new riddles.
You will be exterminated.
Doctor Who, Destiny of the Doctors. Out now on PC CD-ROM. It was only a question of time.
Excuse me, what can you tell me about Eurofan Express?
It provides fast relief from those annoying headaches.
What do you know about Eurofan Express?
It works faster and lasts longer than standard paracetamol tablets. On headaches.
It targets pain fast!
So it's no wonder Nurofen is the nation's favorite branded painkiller.
Have you ever wondered just who is responsible for generating electricity for England and Wales? Where does the power that's working your TV right now actually come from? Well, last year, if you added together all the electricity from everyone else's power stations, it would come to this much, about 56% of the total we need. So where, you may wonder, did all the rest come from? Let me enlighten you. It came from the power stations of National Power, the biggest single generator of electricity in Britain.
Hey, yes. Welcome back to Type 40 Live, here streaming across the fourth and fifth dimensions here with Doctor Who news, views, nostalgia, and banter, and tunes, sublime tunes by the sounds of it. If Ian's recollections there of that fabulous concert that's marking the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who, if that's anything to go by, we've been hearing all about it beat by beat here, thanks to our friend Ian, and we're live streaming it all across YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook in front of a live chat full of our friends, fans, and companions. So yes, let's check out some more comments here, see what people have got to say. How many Doctor Who folks from the past did you spot in there? Was there a few adverts you've never seen, Jack, or were they stuff you've come across before?
To be honest, I haven't really seen those before, so it was nice to witness them for the first time and look at some treasures from the past.
That's exactly how I look at it too. There's slithers of Doctor Who, absolute Doctor Who gold. People are still, I think people want to order that CD. It hasn't even been announced yet. I'm definitely for the CD of the concert, says Simon Ashley. I have Destiny of the Doctors on the shelf, says Simon Matt Strikes. Now, is that the audiobooks from 10 years ago or the PC-ROM game from 24 years ago?
I think it's the PC-ROM game. The last appearance of Anthony Ainley as the Master.
Good stuff.
Well, it takes me back. See me more.
Scott says, good Lord, Destiny of the Doctors, another turkey to add to the collection of Doctor Who-related computer games. Nicola does Ice Queen really well, says James A. Fitzpatrick. It definitely works for me, James. That could explain my dating history.
God.
Who's doing...
Every week, Jack. It's every week. You can't help it.
Who's doing Russell T. Davies 2 music, says Paul Flint. It's funny you should say that, Paul. We're going to get stuck into that right now. What else have we got here? I would do my best to avoid the new theme tune of its revealed before the 60th. I'd rather continue that beautiful tradition of experiencing the new theme tune titles and TARDIS interior live. Yes, I've done both ways, I think, over the years. So I don't think there's a wrong answer to that. it's whatever we want to do. I think they're going to show as little as they possibly can. But I do think they should give us a blast of that theme. It'd be a pity if it was removed. Okay, we're going to look back to the past again, more recent past. 18 years ago. So this is a time in history which we've been talking about quite a lot of late, partly because of the return of Russell T Davies, which only stands to reason, particularly when he's brought back so many of his familiars, I suppose, Sarah, like people like Julie Graham and Phil Collinson, all back on board. And there was one person, wasn't there, who was very conspicuous by their absence as the project was dropping into place. But we did have confirmation 6 months ago now that Murray Gold was to return as the composer on all new Doctor Who, taking the seat back, taking the organ back from Sagan Akinola, and so he's going to for the 60th anniversary specials and series beyond. That's the expression. So Gold originally joined Doctor Who when the show was revived in 2005. He'd worked on a lot of Russell T Davies projects leading up to that, hadn't he? I'm not sure quite how many, but most of them. They got that long-standing relationship, haven't they, Sarah?
And it works so well. I think that there's a real shorthand there that I think possibly, with Chibnall and Akinola didn't quite work as well.
Gel.
And especially what it's like, the production, always in a rush. There's never enough time. I think you need, if you've got that good relationship, and you can just, get on with it. I think it just makes things a lot easier.
Yeah. So, Murray Gold was on this show, Jack, from 2005 right the way through to 2017. That's a long stint for any creative to be involved in one project. He did other things on the side, but Doctor Who was an all-encompassing job. He was on it for quite a long time and closely associated with it. So, when he did leave and with everybody else, because Chibnall got rid of pretty much everybody, do you feel that he has been sorely missed? And were you surprised when it was confirmed that Murray would be returning with everybody else?
Well, I think he has been missed because, don't get me wrong, I've loved the soundtrack from the previous era. Okay, they haven't meshed well with what's been on screen, but I do think that generally it's music. But in order for it to work, obviously, in Doctor Who, it needs to translate well with what's on screen. And
saying earlier on.
With Murray Gold, as you said, he's worked with Russell before. And having that relationship and knowing what your friend essentially is going to be writing, you can kind of plan ahead because he's more transparent, whereas Chibnall, he was very secretive. Well, I mean, you don't know to the extent of how secretive he was with production, but he might have only told Sagan Akinola maybe like last minute or something. So it was, that might be a reason why it didn't mesh well or whatever. But in terms of me being surprised if he was coming back, once I started seeing that, you had the likes of Phil Collinson, Julie Gardner, and pretty much all of the production standouts, I was like, he's got to come back. He's got to come back. But I was surprised he's staying for Series 14, though. I've got to admit.
Yes, so was I, because he has been, hasn't he, Sarah? This guy who's created so much music that you have, I don't use this word lightly, that you've cherished. Mm-hmm. He has gone on to have further success, hasn't he? Just earlier this year, he composed all the music for Dead Ringers on Prime, which is a curious show, but stylistically, you can't fault it. It's very, very flavoursome, and the music is a major part of that. Mm-hmm. I think he's up for some sort of award for it as well. So this is a man who has gone on to, if not necessarily bigger things, to broader subjects. Coming back to Doctor Who after 6 years, do you think he'll be refreshed? Do you think that's why he's come back, or is it again out of loyalty? What are your instincts?
I think it's probably, in honesty, it's probably a bit of both. I mean, I think, if Russell had come back with everybody else, I mean, he might have felt like his nose had been shoved out if he wasn't asked back, because he was part of the success, as much as the writing, the acting, the direction, the music is a huge part of the success. But he's had a break, he's done other things. Maybe he just saw some these scripts are that good and these characters are so rich, and these locations and aliens that hopefully we're going to get, are so fantastic that he felt invigorated again. I'm like, right now, it's kind of like, I suppose, John Williams coming back for the sequel trilogy. I mean, whatever you think of it, it's difficult to imagine John Williams not doing the music for Star Wars. And for me, my generation and the generation that followed, it's Murray Gold is Doctor Who.
Very nicely put. Should we hear from the man himself? I've got a little bit of a clip here. Check this out.
We are recording music with the National Orchestra of Wales for Doctor Who 2023, or RTD2. I'm Murray Gold, and I'm the composer on Doctor Who.
I must say, he sounds somewhat sedate. It's not necessarily what I was expecting. But he did put out this quote as well. I'm so happy to be invited back for another joyful ride in the TARDIS. I didn't think twice. Working with Russell and his team is just a pleasure. There's no fat on that. I think we have to take that at face value. Some people, how can I put this, Sarah, hide their happiness, hide their joy, don't they?
They do, yeah. It's clear to see, isn't it? Yeah. I'm just so happy. I really am.
Oh, it was really lovely to see.
So given the fact that they've got this long-standing relationship there, Ian, and Russell obviously getting that rousing reception, the ovation by the sounds of it at the event you were at last week, how does Murray Gold seem to you? Did it feel like the return of the king in there as well, or did he keep himself to himself? And what do you feel about this? Was this absolutely obvious it was going to happen?
It was a surprise to me because you don't know. I didn't know as much about the relationship between the two of them until Russell T Davies spoke on the evening, and he explained how they'd worked together before on things like Queer as Folk, I believe, and they obviously are really good friends. And he recounted a story of when he'd gone round to his flat to listen to a soundtrack for one of the previous series, and Russell T Davies had gone round to Murray Gold's flat, and he'd said, he kept stalling him, not deliberately, I think, just because his mind was obviously over loads of different places at once. He seems to be that kind of character. And he said, let's have some toast. So we put some toast on, and then halfway through he says, no, let's go for a pizza. So they went out for a pizza, and he'd left the toast on, and his flat burnt down. The entire thing was destroyed. He said they saw the fire engines going by as they were eating the pizzas. This was a story that he was giving at the event, and they went back, and Murray with him looking very dejected as he looks at the ashes of his completely destroyed flat. And Russell said, I felt very sorry for him. I felt gutted, and I was thinking, where's the soundtrack? And of course it was safe because it's backed up in lots of different places, isn't it, digitally these days, and everything was fine. But they've obviously got a really, really good working relationship, and I think if it had been any other producer saying, will you come back, it might not have been a goer. But I think it's because it was Russell T Davies, and he asked him to come back, and he obviously loves doing the series, and it just seems right. It just seems like all the things are being lined up properly again after such a long time, and it's just positive. But on the evening, Murray Gold comes across as very
aloof.
No, slightly bonkers. It was really animated. He was there and jokey and laughy and everything, and really happy to be there, and very, very, very.
Oh, that's lovely.
I think for that sort of like clip that you showed, he's probably putting on a very professional front. But on the evening, he was just Murray Gold, slightly bonkers and quality. Yeah, it's good.
Carol Jude says in the live chat, 15 can wait until December. We don't have too much longer with the current Doctor. Not that she's biased or anything.
I know. She's totally objective, aren't you, Carol?
Cyberman Strike says, it does worry me that if Russell T Davies 2 works, RTD2, does that mean there is barely anyone who can carry the show after 2 decades? That's a justifiable worry. I think that the problem we have, this is something that we've spoken about before, and we probably will again, but in a nutshell, I think that the thing is there are people under the BBC's nose, under Bad Wolf's nose, who could do this. But the problem that we have is a lack of vision and of faith, and still, after 60 years, a lack of understanding of this show from the BBC themselves. They've no idea when it's working. They have no idea why it's working. And when it fails, they're always really surprised, even though it's often them that have initiated the failures. So I'm afraid that as long as it's a BBC product, there's always going to be a lack of vision at the very, very top of the tree. One can only hope this long-standing arrangement with Bad Wolf, apparently they've got it for 5 years. I think we've reported on that before. The Bad Wolf have got this show for 5 years. So as long as they are in the equation, I believe they will look to build out rather than just have it all rest on one man's shoulders. I don't think Russell wants that. Murray Gold, for example, he's already said that he's only going to be around for the 15th Doctor, then he's off. So I think they're aware that this is not just taking the baton back, but they're going to give it a bloody good polish and look after it before it gets passed on to whoever else. And hopefully it won't be a massive changing of the guard. They won't ever throw any babies out with bathwater ever again. Sarah, you came to the show properly, didn't you, in 2005 with the new series of Doctor Who? And so for you, coming to it, finding you, part of the allure, I suppose, and the event of sitting down to watch this show every Saturday was being whisked away down that tunnel, wasn't it, to the Murray Gold version of the signature tune that we got there in Series 1, and going on those adventures for 13 weeks with the Doctor and Rose. It's for you, is it that synonymous with the show? Yes,
absolutely. Just the sound of it, and listening to the soundtracks. So that Jack was saying, I can see it all. Rose's theme, the Bad Wolf theme, Father's Day theme, which we'll be talking about in tomorrow's show. The Daleks. These are things that are just rooted, in my memory now and in my consciousness. And I just can't imagine anything else. And there's such an emotional connection with this music for the characters and even the monsters, because it is silly when you think, the Daleks have got a theme, the Cybermen's got a theme, the Ood's got a theme, and yet it does all work.
I get very defensive, Jack, when people say, well, Doctor Who, it's all a load of old silliness, really, and when they dismiss the old stuff as being pantomime. But in a sense, it is kind of like that, isn't it? We get it in Star Wars too. Darth Vader's got a theme, hasn't he? Yeah. And it is all very heightened and exaggerated. But I think that's part of the fun and the flavour of investing in these universes. It's not that we don't know that it's not real, but it's as if it's a place that we go to where the rules, the sights and the sounds are all different and fit with one another.
Well, yeah, because that's the thing about, especially about science fiction as well. The rule book, is obviously different. But I think, those soundtracks being incorporated, it does, just help drill up excitement. It gets you on the edge of your seat, and hopefully that will happen on Saturday nights in the future. The way it used to be. Yeah. Getting excited for what's to come, which the music definitely will, especially with Murray Gold back. It definitely will get us back and pumped and ready to go.
Back in March 2020. 2010. Take two. Back in, I've only had this face for decades. Back in March of 2010, Murray Gold's soundtrack album that entered the UK chart at the station Classic FM on their Hall of Fame. This music, it became widely recognised, Sarah. Not just Murray Gold, but the association with Doctor Who. It says so much, doesn't it? That's Classic FM. They don't just play anything.
No. It's not just the fan. It was having its effect on the masses, and But even people like my mum, she can recognise I am the Doctor. It's just that powerful. And there's a reason why we had these Doctor Who concerts. Obviously, they wouldn't have gone to all this trouble and cost if it wasn't viable. So there was definitely something in there that maybe they didn't realise at the time. I think it was a kind of an organic thing, especially from series 2 onwards. Because I remember the first concert, that was 2007, 2008.
I think so.
No, it was even earlier, because I remember they previewed some of the Runaway Brides. That must have been 2006.
Oh yeah. Blimey,
So
yeah,
even then, so we're talking like just a year after there was already these concerts happening. I believe that was in Cardiff as well.
I think the first one definitely was. So we are assured that Murray Gold's music will be all new, and we've got quotes as well. I mean, Murray Gold, he was born in 1969, so he's 54 years old, and in his career he's been nominated for 6 BAFTAs, always in the category as Best Original TV Music. And he's got 5 nominations too for the Royal Television Society, again in music for television. He's won 2 of those as well. And the thing with this kind of music and the people who work in this field is that they often when they go to cinema, they often never come back to television. That was how it always was. But then again, it was also the same way with actors, wasn't it, Ian? So you'd got actors who were TV actors and actors who were movie actors, and movie actors never went back to television if they were like George Clooney, starting on ER and going off to movies. But maybe everything has changed now, and somebody like Murray Gold, who's had successes since Doctor Who, can go back. It's not going to affect his career in any adverse way.
No, not at all. And I think the landscape has changed a lot in recent years. When you get the rise of the streaming giants that we've got right now, there's a much more blurrier line between cinema and TV. And I think in going back to it as well, he's going back to something that he obviously loves. Otherwise, he wouldn't do it. And I think he was quite unceremoniously ditched when Chibnall came along. And again, nothing against Segun Akinola, but he was just disposed of like he disposed of pretty much everybody, as you've already said. But I think he's come back because he likes it, because he loves it. He wants to be there. But yeah, I don't think it's as clear a dividing line, cinema and TV, anymore. And he does get it, and I think he's keyed into certain things. We didn't always have, like, as acknowledged, we didn't always have those kind of like themes, although the Cybermen in the 80s had that theme, because that cyber theme from Earthshock didn't it? And if you go back further, in Hartnell and the Power of the Daleks through to the start of Troughton, the Daleks had like a little electronic incidental sound, a very high-pitched rising tone that sort of like was Skaro and where the Daleks were and everything. So that kept recurring through various Dalek stories, because there wasn't much continuity in the early series, but there was a little bit of similar music. The Master had his theme, didn't he? Or it was more of a sting than a theme, wasn't it, when he appeared? But it always kept going, and he's picked up that concept and run with it, and it makes it completely identifiable. You play that music of the Daleks, and you can immediately visualize streams and streams of Daleks attacking Satellite 5 and everything like that. You just hear that theme.
What I'm expecting going forward is I don't think he'd have come back if he didn't see the new challenge, the possibility there, Ian, to do more and to show what he's been doing since, how his music will have evolved since. But I also think he'll be aware of everything that you've just said, that he's going back to that universe. So whilst I am expecting, Sarah, lots of brand new music for you to positively feast on, I think it would also be madness if he didn't reach back to the other stuff too. and not exactly pimp it out, but to take that forward, to progress it from a very natural and organic way. I think that would be the dream. Yeah, that would be the dream.
I think that is probably most likely what will happen. And he recycles stuff all the time. I mean, there was times with the 11th Doctor where stuff from 10 would creep in. I especially remember in Time of the Doctor, at the when he's facing off against the Daleks, you'd got them beats of 10. So it just depends what's going on in the story. But I think it would be a nice progression. I can't talk. I can't say it. Progression.
No, I agree. A bunch of Wallies in the live chat says Murray Gold is the type of guy to have an anthem for when he's in the toilet.
Yeah, but
there's nothing wrong with that. If you want an anthem in the toilet, that's absolutely fine.
Eastlyn Burkholder says Doctor Who is melodrama, real feeling characters to viewers, and over-the-top danger to those characters. The monsters are fake. The characters feel real. Beautifully put, Eastlyn. I love it. So whilst we're here and talking about Murray Gold, because I know Sarah loves Murray Gold, can't you say?
I love
kid in a sweet shop here. So
just wait till how big my smile will be when Series 10 finally gets released.
So since as we've got you here and we've been talking about music and Murray Gold, I wanted your top 5, didn't I? I asked you to give us your top 5 Murray Gold Doctor Who tracks of all time. Take us back there in reverse order.
God,
What's your
in
top
reverse
5?
Order.
Here's your Alan Freeman.
Right, there's a caveat to this. I have not chosen any of the Doctor's themes because that would be all 4 of my 5.
Okay, I like it.
So that because obviously I Am the Doctor would be number 1 anyway.
Yes.
So number 5, I've got Madman in the Box.
Where was that first heard? Which episode was that first? Which episode was that first heard in?
Was it? Oh, was it 11th Hour or was it?
It probably
the
was.
Beast Below? I can't remember. Chat, help me out. No, I think it was. I think part of it was.
Is it 11th Hour when he finally put his tie on and walked through?
Yes.
Yes. And obviously it grew and developed as the series went along. But I love all that, that kind of like twinkly beginning, and then you got the magic and mystery of the TARDIS, and that good, personality of the Doctor. That kind of, because there was always kind of loneliness.
Yes.
With him. I mean, I know it was played more with the 10th Doctor, but the 11th had got it as well, which is why I needed that family unit so much. Okay, number 4, Abigail's song. Obviously, Ian's already mentioned it, but it's just beautiful piece of music, beautiful lyrics. And it's the gold standard. I said it. For the Christmas, the Christmas special. The music for the Christmas specials were always just wonderful because he got to do things that wouldn't necessarily work in the regular series. So, and all kinds of fun. I mean, oh God, I could have had so many for the Christmas ones. Number 3. Trying to think, Doomsday, which I know is an obvious one, but it's so iconic. And again, you can, as soon as you hear that opening, the bass and the vocals, you're just transported to that beach.
Right back to the episode, yeah.
It's just, and it's such a cool bass line. I mean, it's an emotional tune with the violins and everything, and all the oohs, but that bass line is, if you've heard it live, especially when the guitar comes in, it's absolutely fantastic. Number 2, Clara's theme. It was difficult to pick a companion, but I love that, again, that fantasy element of Clara's theme, especially in the Snowman, which I think, do we hear it in the Snowman or do we hear it in Asylum of the Daleks?
Actually, I think we do actually hear it in the Asylum of the Daleks. When she says, "Run, you clever boy, and remember," I think.
Oh, I
Yes.
know the one you mean now. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do get some of them mixed up. I have to say, I don't remember the titles.
I know, like you really. It's difficult when we can't play them. But yeah, you just that kind of like floaty element. And I love that. The scene going up the stairs to the cloud again, and just you just get these images, and it's just incredible. And number one, my absolute favourite's got to be This Is Gallifrey, which again Ian's mentioned, but again it's just iconic, and it's got everything in it. You've got the big epicness, you've got the action, you've got that grandiose of the Time Lords and the real threat, and it's just fantastic. I absolutely love it, and I have two memories, because the memory I have is obviously of season 3 with the Master, but then when I've been to concerts, they've started they play that over a montage of all the Doctors, so you see them all regenerating. Did they play that, Ian? Was there a visual?
No, they had no visuals whatsoever.
Because when they
Played
did
it so well, it was all visual.
well, again, you didn't need it, but when I'd seen it on the Symphonic Spectacular and the proms, that's what they used, and they went all the way up from Hartnell to Capaldi, and that was always really special. Just really unfair, because that was only 5 and I've got about 50.
Well, I tell you what I was going to say, why don't we put the top 5 up on the Type 40 social medias on Instagram and Twitter and on Facebook, but actually let's expand it to the top 10 for the social media, so you can find out which other ones Sarah would have put there.
Yeah, you have to. Jack, have you got any you want to add, any that you think I've missed?
Oh, for me, I mean, if I'm going to throw a few of the lyrical ones on there, Song for 10 was a really good one. And Love Don't Roam, which is a very...
I like that even more.
Personal one for me. And in terms of memories, I remember a couple years ago on a night out at a karaoke bar, a certain drunk Jack was singing that.
Did you?
Ouch. Yeah.
And is there footage of this, Jack?
There is somewhere. I'll try and find it.
Interesting.
Have you lived it down with your mates yet?
And let me tell you, like, my mates knew what it was from, but everyone else there apparently thought I was intoxicated, singing about begging for a girl to take me back. And so non-Whovians were just not getting what I was singing.
Brilliant stuff. How about you, Ian? Have you got a track that you've thrown to the mix there to add to Sarah's choices?
I like pretty much all of the above, really. I like the I can't remember the name of it, the Stowaway song from Voyage of the Damned. I like most of the Christmas ones that they chucked in there. But I do, and I'll probably pronounce this wrong, I do like Vale Daycam, the end of 10, just as it builds up to his regeneration.
Yes. And they played that. Just mentioned that in the live chat, that she plays that quite a lot.
Yeah, they played that in the concert, and you really could feel the hairs standing up on your arms and the back of your neck as it just got to that crescendo as you get to the point where he regenerates. But I love that piece of music, so that's definitely going to be in there. Yeah.
Oh, in the live chat says he didn't realise that Vale Decum was sung by a male until he watched the concert on TV. And Shah asks a perfectly reasonable question. I want to know what kind of anthem each of us would have. It wouldn't be for me to say, Shah, but I dare say people in the live chat may come up with a few ideas. If you like, scratch your head, scratch your bum, and get in touch with us on Instagram and Twitter at Sci-Fi Doctor Who. With that, I suppose maybe Shah can come up with some herself. Trust Type 40 to outline an orchestral dump, says Cyber Matt Strikes. What we do, we aim to please, my friend. We aim to please. Strange Creatures sets the tone for Russell T Davies' era.
Oh, yeah, that's another good one.
I agree. I definitely agree with that. Yeah, both of those songs, fantastic. We've got a whole top 5 here from Shah. Vale Decem is at number 1 with Doomsday. At number 2, Sarah, you got that. Rosie's Peril is number 4 at No, it isn't. No, Rosie's Peril is number 3. Number 4 is All the Strange Creatures, and the Cybermen theme is number 5, Jack. The Stompy Wompies.
Oh, you know what? There's one I forgot to shout out. The theme for Madame de Pompadour.
Yeah.
I really love
it's
that
beautiful.
episode.
This is making me want to listen to them again now.
So much music. Murray Gold does the Type 40 theme tune, says Simon Ashley. Murray Gold? When we've got Aldred Audio Visual, we don't need Murray Gold when we've got Lee, do we?
I love our theme tune. It's a banger.
All the strange creatures. Yeah, people love the strange creatures. Yeah, I do as well. The Neil Hannon from the Divine Comedy singing on Love Don't Roam. Oh, just wonderful stuff. Epic, says Lord Thoth. This is Gallifrey, never fails to stir me, says Michael. Can't beat being stirred. I already have an anthem, says Pod Racing Palpatine. Fair enough. Everybody should have an anthem, maybe. And Bunch of Wallies says it's Doomsday when you take a dump. That doesn't make your eyes water. I don't know what does. I'd give that one 10 minutes. Yes. Welcome back, Murray Gold. I suppose it's. I think it's great news. I think just like you said, Jack. I think he would have been conspicuous by his absence. This pretty much had to happen for it to be a proper celebration. I understand that some are fearful that this may not be an apt celebration of all of Doctor Who that we've got coming up for the 60th anniversary. But if the event that Ian was there to witness just a few nights ago is anything to go by, it does sound like all of Doctor Who will be represented and celebrated, and that nothing is certainly being excluded deliberately out of any actual slight on it. I think that's more than clear. Murray Gold's sticking around for a little while, Sarah. I mean, we could speculate till the cows come home about how long Ncuti Gatwa was going to remain in the role of the Doctor, can't we? But it does seem like we could have some future classics to look forward to from Murray Gold. You're going to be made up about that, aren't you?
I am, yes.
Yes, so watch this space, I suppose, about whatever could be coming. Let us know what you think in the comments section too. Where do you stand on this? Are you genuinely happy to see Murray Gold back? Are you concerned that they're reaching yet again back to the past? You were fed up with him the last time. You may feel that way. I don't know. We're all ears. There are no wrong answers here at Type 40 Live. Let us know what you think of it all in the comments section too. I'd like to think that in a few years' time, Murray Gold will be passing the baton to the next Murray Gold, the next big talent, the next BAFTA and Royal Television Society nominee. And that's how it should be, that this should get passed on to a new generation of creatives. And that Doctor Who continues to sort of thrive and to get people at the top of their game involved. I think that is something that we're going to see a return to with, again, all our fingers and toes crossed here all the time, please.
Doctor Who's always been good at bringing people out and bringing them more to the fore, hasn't it? It's very much a platform.
Seems to be.
Yeah.
And even with the actors, it takes actors like Tom Baker. Nobody really knew him and what it did for him, but Matt Smith was just emerging, really, wasn't he? And there he is. And look at him now in films and everything. And it's the same for the behind the scenes people, and it's certainly done it for Murray Gold. And there's going to be others, and he probably knows a handful of people that baton can be handed over to. And if they get his vote, then I'll probably be happy with that.
Bring forward. I'd like to think so. Obviously, we'll be all ears as it all starts to drift into the ether, Sarah. Between now and Christmas, we're going to get one load of it, and then even more next year. Who knows? And let us know what you think about it all in the comments section too. Okay, what next? One more thing, just a time and space stop here for a quick scan across the water. The prettiest pictures from throughout Doctor Who fandom for the 60th anniversary year. All these talented fan artists that are out there in the community, and look at the artwork that keep popping up. This one, it's a scary one we've got coming up now. Very, very scary. This is now, I don't know about you, but I'm very fond of we wriggle. It's very, very thin. I think it's quite claustrophobic. And
Dan, you're breaking up a bit. You're going all robotic.
am I back yet?
That's
Hello?
better.
Yeah, there you go.
Hello?
There we go.
So yeah, I think that story has a lot of the best of both worlds in it, and of course it brought back, didn't it, a classic Doctor Who monster that people hadn't thought about in decades. The Macra, and we've got this beautiful piece of fan art here from William Holmes of a Macra here.
Oh yes,
yeah.
I'm liking that.
That's a giant crab and a half, isn't it, Jack?
Yeah, that is a very big crab.
Very red as well, and like the little dude in the boat at the front.
Yeah, you get the scale, don't you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Very, very nicely done. I think this is digital. I think this. Yeah, I'm pretty certain it's digital art, but it has got a certain romance to it. I think the way that he's mixed in the layers. Yeah, I really like this, and the eye is lighting up too. It's like something out of that film, The Mist. Or one of those sort of Stephen King style movies, you know what I mean, from some apocalyptic future. That's what I like about it.
It's really atmospheric. Yeah, that's how they should be.
Yeah,
They're meant to be scary.
Yeah. I'd love to see the Macra back on screen. The only drawback of Gridlock is that we just didn't see enough of them. Pod Racing Palpatine says, "Imagine how many pots of crab paste you get out of that." Yes, yes, of course. So I'm very keen on that one. And secondly, we've got this too, which has been doing the rounds all week across social media. This is from Will's Heart, sorry. And this is Doctor Who meets Scooby-Doo in the early 70s. A fantastic recreation of the cast of the original cast of Scooby-Doo, how they should look. That from Scooby-Doo, Where Are You, from the late 60s. But alongside John Pertwee's incarnation of the Doctor,
incredible.
This just fits so perfectly, doesn't it, Jack?
Yeah, it does, and it does make me wish that we had seen something like that at the time, because, it would have been perfect, to be honest.
I'd be totally down for a Doctor Who cartoon series, I have to say.
Yeah,
Ian. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the old Hanna-Barbera stuff and everything from around this time. And there is something about Doctor Who and Scooby-Doo. They're not exactly an uneasy fit, are they? Particularly at this time.
Yeah, definitely. And to be honest, I mean, even thinking about Doctor Who as it is now, the scene from Love and Monsters popped back in my head, where they're chasing that creature at the beginning of the episode, and they're running through the hallways and stuff like that.
It's very Scooby-Doo. Yeah.
Very much so. Very deliberately so.
That in animation.
Brilliant, says Simon Ashley.
Like at the end of Terror of the Autons, where Pertwee's holding the master face mask.
Yes.
That's like revealed who the bad guy was.
Yeah. Love Scooby-Doo, says Lord Thoth. Brilliant, says Simon Ashley. Yeah, this picture has been doing the rounds all week, so much so that it would have been ridiculous not to show it. But if you look at the TARDIS there, the TARDIS has got a red light on the top, which I think that's slightly reminiscent of an original TARDIS toy, which would come a little bit later. I think it was the Palatoy TARDIS that had the red light on the top. If Darren Bradley's in the live chat, he'll soon put me right on that. But yeah, it just, the 70s, the flavour of the 70s is so intoxicating from this, I suppose. And the fact that he's given the Pertwee Doctor the green coat as well with the red cape line. I just think it's all beautifully judged, nicely illustrated. And you could almost imagine, Sarah, this is an episode of Scooby-Doo that we just never got. It was produced that we never saw. It just got lost somewhere.
It does. It really looks that professional, and it's the crossover we never had that we should have got. Definitely.
Absolutely glorious. And if you are a fan artist, or you know of a fan artist, that their work, we haven't seen it yet, we haven't talked about it, we should get it up on the view screen and give them some love and give them some encouragement. Let us know who they are through our social media, Instagram and Twitter at Type40 Doctor Who, or just drop a link to their art page, their Deviant art page, or an Instagram account in the comment section too. We'd love to see it all. Only the prettiest pictures here at Type 40 Live, and it doesn't matter whether it's traditional stuff, whether it's digital. We just want to see it all, and we want to show it all some love and give it a showcase. That's that's the general idea with that. Ian, thank you again for coming on and sharing.
Thank you for having me.
At the Doctor Who 60th anniversary celebration.
Well, thank you for having me. Really enjoyed it.
Do you do social media? Where can people follow you anywhere?
I do Twitter and Instagram, generally just Third Doctor or Third_Doctor, depending on what handle I was able to get when I did it. A bit of a Pertwee fan, so yeah, Third Doctor.
Oh, brilliant.
Oh, are you a Scooby-Doo fan as well, or was that sacrilege, that last picture?
No, a little bit. It was definitely part of my growing up in the 70s. Yeah, definitely. But I sad as I am, the Palatoy TARDIS was a silver light, and you spun it. You put the Doctor in, and he was held in place with a bit of Velcro, and you spun the silver light, and if you pressed a red button, then he stayed at the back, and you opened the doors, and he'd gone. And then you closed the doors and spun it again and pressed a green button, and he'd come back to the front. So that's probably where the red comes from.
Why didn't we get any of this, Jack? This is so not
I know.
fair.
That sounds so cool.
I'm getting my
that was literally all there was.
That's absolutely true. Yes, let us know your thoughts on everything we've spoken about on this edition of the show. So Ian's fabulous account there of being there for the concert just last week at the return of Murray Gold to Doctor Who after that 6-year gap. Where are you on a scale of 1 to 10 of excitement for that? Or do you sincerely, you've got nothing against Murray, but you kind of wish they'd have gone with somebody else? We're all ears. Let us know in the comment section or reach out to us through our social medias, Instagram and Twitter at Type40 Doctor Who. You can always join us in the Type 40 Facebook group too. There's generations upon regenerations worth of Doctor Who fans there already talking not just about Scooby-Doo, but about classic Doctor Who, new Doctor Who, and speculating on all new Doctor Who that's inching its way to us just a few weeks until we get the first few morsels for the 60th anniversary to jump right on. Heaven knows when it's going to be actually screened. We're getting some idea now, and we'll be here talking about it. Of course we will on Type 40 Live. Another one in the books, as they say. Thank you for your top 5, Sarah. I know that was quite painful for you.
It was very difficult. I don't take it seriously at all, you know.
Shah is still in the live chat. I've managed to watch this undetected. Love to you all, and bless your heart. Thank you, Shah. What's the worst thing they can do at this point? Thank you to Simon and to Scott. Excellent choice of doctors.
Yeah, I want to see that cosplay, Scott. Scooby-Doo and Pertwee. That's your latest project.
And thanks for that, Sarah. I don't know how much this all means to you, and I thought we'd get your top 5, but we'll get your top 10 as well and get it out to people as well. And Jack, again, thanks for your company on this one. I think it's high time we got you a mug as well, isn't it? With that'll be on the way soon, I think. Again, everybody who's been dropping comments out there on Rumble, Facebook, and YouTube, thank you so much. More Type 40 Live, of course, coming up in just a few short days. Don't forget we have got a podcast dropping across all the platforms. So it's on our home feed at type40.podbean.com. You can get the video version here on the Type 40 channel. That's our deep dive review of Father's Day and a huge chat too about the 9th Doctor's era. Myself, Sarah, and Stephen Noonan on that, chewing the fat, having a laugh, and everything else in between, hopefully stirring up more of your memories of a fantastic time to be a Doctor Who fan. Okay, that's it for this one. We always have the time if you have the space here at Type 40 Live. We'll catch you again next time. You take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cheers.